Thank you so much. Air pollution is a major area of concern around crypto mining as miners are bringing coal and gas-fired plants back online, or even using dirtier sources of energy like waste coal in order to buy power for their mining rigs. Mr. Altenberg, have you seen instances where crypto miners have kept dirty and inefficient power plants online?
It certainly appears they have, especially in the two waste coal power plants in Pennsylvania. Prior to Bitcoin mining operation, they were running at very, very low capacity factors. Coal-fired power plants tend to run 60, 70, maybe 80% or more of the time, and they tend to want to run full out at a very constant rate. These plants were running closer to 10% of the time. So when Bitcoin came into operation, part of the goal was to increase the output of these power plants.
So the energy use of Bitcoin, especially if it brings carbon-intensive generation back onto the grid, could threaten our climate goals and supercharge climate change. We already know we are living through unprecedented climate chaos. If Congress turns a blind eye to an energy-intensive industry like Bitcoin while it works to tackle climate impacts, it's like a plumber that tries to fix an overflowing bathtub while the faucet won't stop running. The problem won't go away, and the damage will just get worse if you don't deal with the potential dangers that are right in front of you. So, Dr. Kellis, do you agree that crypto mining jeopardizes state and federal climate commitments?
Absolutely. To answer it in the context of what you were just speaking about, in New York State, we have about 49 retired power plants, and they're retired because they are less efficient, they're old, using older technology, single-cycle turbine technology, and could not compete on the market with the more modern dual-cycle turbine technology, for example. So they were mothballed. The cryptocurrency mining industry is buying up power plants in New York State, turning them back on, and running them up to their full greenhouse gas emissions allowable permits. And that is a situation where we had these facilities that were at zero emissions. They were shut down because of their inefficiency. So even if they're converted, as one of them was, from coal to natural gas, that we still have a significant increase in greenhouse gas emissions from that facility than zero, which is where we were. And of course, everyone knows at this point that methane is a stronger greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. And although coal is less clean with respect to all the types of particulates that it releases into the air, with the gas-fired power plant, particularly with a single cycle turbine that is less efficient, we are, of course, having significant increases in methane that is released through the entire process of getting the gas to the facility, and then, of course, from the facility. So it is significantly, I believe, hurting our ability to reach our climate goals. And we see another facility that is working to come online, and we have all the others that are in our state. So we are very worried, and that is why New York State put a moratorium on any of these power plants being turned back on by large-scale corporate cryptocurrency miners, so that we ourselves could do a full-scale investigation of the impact of cryptocurrency mining on our ability to reach our climate goals.
So thank you. So industry figures claim that Bitcoin miners can burn flared or vented methane gas to power their mining operations. We know that we need to cut down on our methane emissions. That's why we passed an historic methane emission reduction program as part of the Inflation Reduction Act. But I'm curious as to whether these claims hold water. Mr. Altenberg, do you believe that there are better ways to deal with flared and vented methane than using it to power Bitcoin mining operations?
What we've seen with Bitcoin mining, the innovation we have seen has been innovation in ways to justify that wasting energy is good. Methane is particularly one of the situations. If you have a situation where you have enough methane that you can capture, that you are flaring, if you can capture it to run a Bitcoin mine, you might as well capture it and put it into the distribution pipeline and get useful work out of it. There is no need to waste the energy that we're wasting on Bitcoin.
So if there's better ways to deal with vented methane, we should avoid fossil fuels in the first place. And at the end of the day, we have direct reports of harms and significant projections of impacts in our society. So that's just why we need more transparency across the board. That's what we're fighting for today. We're not saying ban. We're not saying don't ban. We're just saying let's just know what's happening. Information will be helpful for everyone, no matter where they live, to just understand, like my mother did, and saying just don't swim in the Malden River. She didn't have any evidence except for the black cloud over our home ward, which weren't over the other 7 wards in Malden. But the EPA wasn't even created, for 20 more years after I was a boy. So obviously, you just can't be working off of your gut. You need some information. So if the industry is confident in its positive contributions to the environment, they should welcome the transparency of the Crypto Asset Environmental Transparency Act that would provide that information. Really, only vampires are afraid of the sunshine. And in the same way that so many devices that we plug in at night now, we're all plugging in all these devices every night. They're almost vampires consuming all this electricity. And I had this big battle actually about 15, 18 years ago with the computer industry because they were, of course, God's gift. Oh my goodness, don't ask us to do any more. Didn't we do a great job in just providing you with all these laptops, at home? Don't ask us to do anything else. So I just said to them, well, is there any way, that you could cut the electricity consumption for the home computer when it's just on overnight in the default position, when you have your kids' pictures up all night? Can you just cut that electricity consumption overnight? Oh, you have no idea how difficult that is. Oh my goodness. You're asking us to try to figure out something like that after we've given you the great gift of home computers? And of course, they figured it out. Okay, well, why would we have 100 million devices, unnecessarily consuming electricity when you could just put the fix in, to make sure that it's more efficient while getting the benefit of the new technological breakthrough? But that's just kind of the default position of a new group of geniuses in their little industry. Okay, you can't actually call upon us to have any additional burdens when all we're saying is, like my mother, work smarter, not harder. Okay, just use a more efficient way of doing it. So let me again turn to Senator Ricketts.